Well, this job is back again. The hedge trimmer is on now. I'm just after fitting it on there this morning. I'm after leveling it. Now when I say level it, I do adjust the two arms in the back here so that when it is out at full stretch that the hedge cutter stays level. It just means one arm has to be adjusted upwards and the other one has to be adjusted downwards. That's our covers all on. There's our Cunningham's cover that we got last year, all secured as well. It's a wee bit fiddly to put on, but once you get used to it, once you start to learn where everything goes to hold it onto your tractor, it's not that difficult. You probably could do it a second set of hands. It's raining now, the bonnet's really slippy, and that bonnet has a brave slope on it, so anything you put on it wants to fall forward. So what I do is I actually use cable ties. I have a cable tied back there, and I have a cable tied here, and a few just cable ties here and there holds the whole thing together and keeps it up on the tractor. But once you get it fixed on, it's a good job. So that's how we're all greased. But apart from all of those, the most important one is the ones top and bottom here on the main rotor, and obviously the roller as well, but this is the main buy here. So let's get them greased. Little grease nipple just there. This can take a lot of grease at times. Job done. We didn't get much hedge cutting done. I've been hedge cutting for about an hour, and I was doing the lane up to the farmyard on the other farm, and just all of a sudden this noise came on the dash, a loud alarm noise, and I seen a red gear symbol with a thermometer sign beside it, and then the tractor went into limp mode, which meant that it wouldn't go out of range 1. Down to range 1, it wouldn't come out of it. So I had to stop, looked up what that symbol was for, and quickly found out that it was for temperature. Oil temperature at the back end was very hot. It signals an alarm in the dash, comes on, and stops you from doing harm. Just lets you know that the oil has got way too hot in the back of the tractor. So there is a way of checking the oil temperature on the tractor on the dash, which I went in and checked, and it was 95 degrees, which is way too hot. So I kind of knew what was going on. And last year we had a problem like this as well. You might remember me talking about it, where we done a bit of a fix over here. We'll show you that in a second, but we done a bit of a fix over here to try and make sure the oil was getting into the tractor quick enough. So I'm going to explain to you what it is we're about to do and what it is we're about to try and fix, and it may or may not work. On this tractor you have a high flow, so basically you'll put out a maximum of 110 litres of oil per minute. So this hedge cutter, being an older hedge cutter, requires about 50 to 60 to operate the boom. She's semi-independent, so she has her oil reservoir here, runs her pump and everything, but the boom itself, in and out, that is all driven by the back end oil of the tractor. So the problem is there's so much oil coming out of the back of the tractor, it's not getting back into the tractor quick enough. So what you have here is you have your pipe here, which connects into your spool valve. It runs down into a chest valve down there, which divides it up to run all these different valves around the arm. And then you have a return that comes back, which joins into your quick return directly into your tank. So these little flow adjusters here are handy. Some tractors have maybe it on one spool valve, or others could have it on the top here, like a little grub screw that you turn. But their job is to actually control the amount of oil that's coming out of these spool valves. So technically, you imagine it'd just be as simple as turn it down and that will reduce the amount of oil coming out, meaning it wouldn't have to go in to the tractor as quick, and that should solve her problem. Well, that didn't solve her problem. I turned it down completely, which would turn it off, like just turn off a tap, and then ever so slightly turned it back on until I heard the oil flow. Tried it that way, made no difference. In 10 minutes the tractor was back up above the 90 degrees. So that didn't solve that problem. Now our return on this hedge trimmer, that's the feed, is off the hedge trimmer at the minute, but it was an inch return, inch pipe, a little heavier than what you see here. So you can see here on a hedge trimmer we have the backyard removed, so that's an inch fitting that would have had an inch pipe running the whole way as the return. So this is your return going out here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a 3/4 inch pipe on this. This pipe up here, the other one. So to tighten that one properly, I'm going to have to take this one off, because I just cannot get in at it. Even from the far side, there's no way just to get a grip on it. So loosen this one off here. It's easier to access. We should be able to get at it better. At least get a wrench onto it. So that's a 30. That's probably a 27. Yeah. Just tighten that up. Right. That's it's all hooked up. Now anyone who is mechanically wise will spot straight away, Adrian, that's not going to make a huge difference, because you're still going into a 1/2 inch joint in here, which, yes, you're completely right, but there's nothing we can do about that. That's the way the chest valve is. It'd be lovely if it had been 3/4, yeah, and that would increase the oil flow for sure, but it's definitely going to help some way, because we're going to have a new connection which will be 3/4 inch going into the tractor, so that in itself will help the oil to get away quicker. But that there is as good as we can do at the moment. So this pipe, imagine this is still the ordinary 1/2 inch pipe. It would have come up and would have plugged in here. Alright, just to interrupt the video real quick, if you look at the terminals there that I'm trying to hook into on the right hand side, you'll see P, T and LS, and you'll notice that I'm trying to hook the return into the LS, which LS stands for load sensing, and that would be wrong. That's not where you would hook your return into. But if you look at P and T above, power and tank, they're empty. Them slots is empty. The pipes are there, they're just hanging down the side of the tractor rather in their proper ports. So I'd say when this tractor came to the factory, it didn't have the steel pipes that would have been hooked into those originally, and the guy just hooked up rubber pipes real quick, done the job, and just didn't put them into the right places. The LS so is actually the tank return. The load sensing one is actually just below it there. You'll see it, the female port just below it, with 2 washers on it, and that's that coupling there. That is actually the load sensing one. So just to clear that up, we're not putting it in the wrong place. It's something I need to address maybe next year. Take a bit of time and get the right steel pipes and plumb that up right. Now, you see the way we have the bigger fitting? That's what it would have been originally. This is what it is now. To get that to fit, we would have had this coupling set up, just an adapter, and that 1/2 inch then would have fitted in there. That connection on its own would cause restriction, because you now have 2 joints versus 1, and it has to go through each one of those, and that all causes a resistance. So it was a quick fix last year to get it up and running, but probably in the long run it's probably adding to our problems with the overheating. So we're going to remove that completely. We're going to skip all that. We're going to leave that exactly as it is, and we're going to come down here where I have it love stuck at the moment because I have the oil cap off. This here is where your oil is filled into the back end of the tractor. I'm looking in there at the diff. That there, just like that, is the quickest way to get oil back into the end of the tractor, because it doesn't have to go through anything in there. It's bypassing every restriction possible. That's all you want. You want the fastest route of getting the oil into the back end of the tractor, so that is definitely the quickest route. So we removed our plastic oil cap. We had to go looking for a fitting that would fit in there and allow us to put on our female 3/4 inch. So yesterday evening I went up to the Massey dealership, picked up this fitting here, and I had to figure out, how do I get this fitting into that hole? Well, my local co-op came to the rescue. Of all places, I found these fittings which actually makes the whole thing work. So we have our female coupling. We now have this gun barrel fitting adapter here, which in turn will fit into this brass connection, which this here and this here are same threads. That will screw into our opening cap, if you get me. Screw that into the hole, and we should have a quick return in our hand there that could solve all of our problems. Cheap, easy fix hopefully.
So this should screw in here, hopefully it does. Yeah.
Another thing as well is a mate of mine who actually works in the Massey dealership is going to call out to me now in about an hour's time, and he's going to put a flow meter onto this spool that we're using, and he's going to try to adjust this because the flow meter will show exactly what oil output is coming through this spool valve, and he's going to try to adjust it, and then we can put a marker on this so we know for the future, if we ever have to move that, where it should go to give us the right amount of oil flow to the trimmer. It doesn't matter if it slows the boom down slightly. You don't want your tractor heating up. We just cannot have that happening, because a hydraulic pump would last no time, and if you put a hydraulic pump into one of these tractors, no laughing matter. We got a 3/4 and hook it in here. There we are. Like it, love. Hey, Billy. Let's crack. So we're just trimming here now, starting this morning. I have all the way farm done, and I have practically a little more than half the home farm done, maybe a wee bit more than half. But I can tell just by starting this morning that we're finished hedge cutting for the year. We've had way too much rain. I didn't think it was going to get so bad so quickly. I thought I had loads of time, and I was wrong. I suppose when we had lots of jobs on with a bit of excavation work at the other farm and clearing the cottage and things, it all takes up time, and I didn't just get to the hedge cutting as early this year, so I'm not going to get it completed. But the bits that I have to complete, there's very little on them. Hedges didn't grow an awful lot this year, I found, so I'm not worried about that. We can get them in either February or we get them the following September. We'll start a wee bit earlier next year and get them then, so I'm not really too bothered by it. But so far, anyway, our problem with overheating, I don't think it's fixed. It's hugely better. But we talk about that in a wee while we get off the tractor. I'll just show you some of the things that I think we're going to have to do in the future from David Wright. But I know if I was doing a full day's trimming, it wouldn't last. And that wouldn't be any addition if we were doing extra work or under a wee bit of pressure. You couldn't really have that. You want a thing that can run all day. On top of the first time we drove up, it was going to be quite a mess. But no, once we drove in a different place each time, just by stretching out the trimmer, don't drive on the same pad, no real mess made. We've just to do around this fence here. We have another dry spot up along the far hedge here where it's just whins. We just want to knock back some of the whins on a boundary hedge. I do like the bit of trimming. It's nice work. I haven't found too much problems with my neck yet. Then I only do about 4, maybe 5 hours in the day, and that's it, because milking time comes along. Cows are all in now. It just has rained a lot, so there's quite a bit of other work to be done. But at the same time, it's amazing what you'd actually get done in them few hours. Like once you cut the head down, and I didn't do much filming, to be honest with you. I just wanted to get the job completed and out of the way, and it's not the most interesting thing. It's only hedge trimming. But the fact that we had wee problems and things like that, I decided then I would take a bit of footage off it, because it might actually help some of you if you have a similar issue, or it might prevent you having to put a hydraulic pump into your tractor. So all I'm doing here now is I'm just trimming the inside of this hedge like that. I've had already trimmed from the lane side, and just have to come in here and face these nettles and stuff back just to tidy up the drain, and then that'll be it. We go over there then to the far side and we knock back these whins, because I know that's really dry over there, and hopefully it is. And that then will be our hedge trimming finished then around our own farm, probably till the springtime. If we can get in again, we'll see. We have to be careful here, because I know there's a stump here. I just can't remember exactly where it is, so we're just by it. So that's probably officially our trimming done as regards on the land on our own farm. I'm just after doing this bit here. Now I didn't really mark the field too much on this, because this is a really nice dry bank here, but I just pushed them whins back as far as it can go, because that's the barbed wire there, if you can see it. But it's done a good job to push them back, because them whins, they come out in the field very quick if you let them get away with it. This whole farm used to be covered in whins. When my father moved here, it was all whins, he said. You nearly couldn't tell which field was which. There was no open parts like this. It was just completely grew in with whins. That was probably in the late 50s. He cleared it all himself with a slash hook, a bow saw, and walked it bit by bit and got them all removed. But you can see you have quite a bit of winds around here on the hedgerows. That's what is predominantly in the hedges, winds. And they don't belong making a return if you don't keep them in check. But that's them well clipped back. Now, regarding our hedge trimmer, put it this way, I'm glad that's all I got done today, about 2 hours of work, because it's up now at 78 degrees. So it's getting warm again. So we have to figure out what the cause of that is, and we will find out what the cause of it is. But as you've seen there, we have upgraded the pipe. Whatever difference that'll make, because it's gone through a 1/2-inch valve in there, chest valve in there, we don't know. But we have a return now going straight into the back of our tractor. Another thing as well, I just want to point these things out, because actually, believe it or not, this is quite common. When I was up in the garage getting a pipe for the back of this hedge trimmer, there was a fairly new tractor with only a few hundred hours on it, getting a brand new hydraulic pump put onto it because it'd done 2 weeks of hedge trimming on an older trimmer. And that's what it done, it roasted the back end, and you could miss it very easily. Now, some might say, Adrian, did you not notice your tractor getting hot? Not until the alarm went off. And even when I got off, you still wouldn't know unless you were looking at a temperature display. And on them tractors there, I wish there was a default setting where you could pick the display you want to see permanently, because I have to select into that to see what the transmission and back end oil temperature is like. And then every time you turn off your PTO and turn it back on again, it goes back to default to a different screen. And I wish it would hold on to, maybe there is a way of getting it to hold that screen the whole time. But now that I'm aware of it, now I keep an eye on it. But other things we have tried on these here, on most tractors there's an oil cooler, and ours is in the front here. And it's just a radiator behind our water radiator here at the front. And that's clean, checked it, spotlessly clean. On them oil coolers there's a valve, which basically the valve acts like a thermostat. It's the very same as what happens in a car or in a tractor. A thermostat allows the engine to get up to temperature, and then it will open. The heat will open the thermostat, allow the water to flow through the radiator, which will cool the water down. The thermostat's purpose is so the engine can get up to temperature quicker without it being cooled all the time from the minute it started. The oil valve in this works exactly the same way. It's designed to allow the tractor to get up to temperature quicker before it allows the oil flow to go through the cooler and cool it down. Now, I did look at it when the tractor was warm, put my hand on the pipe going in, checked the pipe going out, and the pipe going out was a lot cooler. So to me it's working. We're just going to have a closer look at it though. I'll get a mechanic to have a look at it just to make sure it is. Some people might say, is the cover taken away from it? Is it stopping air from getting in? Is it restricting the air? So you can look there yourself and see, you know, it doesn't really restrict any air. It might a little, maybe, but all in all, I doubt it. I really doubt it, because it is very, very open and no vents are covered, and I wouldn't be so sure of that. I wouldn't think that's the cause. One thing that will probably cure the whole thing is an external cooler on our trimmer. All new trimmers that you would buy now probably wouldn't have this issue, because a lot of them will have an oil cooler built in. You'll see a fan around here on the new McConnells, and I don't know what the Bomfords or others are like, but I presume there's oil coolers on most of the new ones now, and they're not there for no reason. So here hopefully we can fit an oil cooler onto this, and I think, and so does a couple of mechanics that I spoke to several, all the mates that I know, I've asked them all their advice on this, and yeah, the oil cooler would probably fix the problem once and for all. So if that's what's needed to solve this, that's exactly what we'll do. But I'll give you an update every so often how we're going on. There's always obstacles and there's always solutions. And just before we do go, a little tip for you. If you're ever on YouTube just scrolling around looking for a new channel to check out Eweknit in County Sligo. Carl is the boy that's behind that. I've been watching them this last few nights, and I have to say the footage that he captured and the stunning surroundings that he lives in. He's so lucky to live where he lives. Mountainous places, you wouldn't see scenery like it. It's what Ireland's renowned for, some of the lovely scenery that we have in our own country, and he shows it so well. But his footage and content is just top quality, and what he does, he's a grafter, and that's what I like about him the most. He's a real grafter, hard worker. His dog Cassie, just watch Cassie walk. She doesn't always behave, but it's just great to watch. I'd have zero interest in sheep. That's just being honest with you. I have no knowledge on them, never had any interest in them, but between watching him and the sheep game, Cammy, of course, I've learned an awful lot, and that has to be admired. So if you do have a few minutes to spare someday, go and check him out. Eweknit is the channel name. I think you'll like it. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Thanks very much for watching, and until the next one, we'll talk to you again.
Right, home for the spuds.